Welcome to Monday morning's news you can use with the Naples Money Managers on December 7th, I believe. Can you believe it's December 7th already? Marcus Bickle is going to join me today, and we're going to do something just a wee bit different.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We're going to talk about scams and fraud. This time of year, they are rampant.
Absolutely, and they're getting more and more sophisticated every year. You know, there's been something, in some way, shape, or form for at least as long as I can remember.
It used to be every year there was at least one scam in town, investment scam.
Absolutely.
Just investment scams.
When you hear about like the Nigerian prince, that's an email scam that's been going on forever. You give him money so he can free up money in his own country, and he'll pay you back plus interest. And obviously, they never pay
wonderful,
you back.
isn't it? And we've seen all different types of scams. So what we want to do today is we're going to talk about a few different types. Obviously, these are very short videos. But I want to ask you to please send these to as many people as you can.
Absolutely.
We've had people losing thousands of dollars. Smart people. And I'm going to start with my own story because I consider myself to be a fairly bright woman and have been on my own,
Absolutely.
for many years before I was remarried. And yet, both my husband and I almost got taken on a scam. And one of the first ones we're going to talk about today is gift cards.
Mm-hmm.
Any kind of gift card. This is a Pier 1 card. I'm holding it up simply because they don't exist anymore. But I guess I can throw that one away. Gift cards, if anybody, anyhow, any way, any shape, any form, at all, ever, never, ever, asks you to pay using a gift card, every red flag should go up, every yellow flag on the field, caution, no, not even caution, run, and run further.
And I would like to extrapolate a little bit on that. Now, the reason they use the gift cards, because a gift card is essentially a bearer bond, that whoever holds it is the owner.
Or a cashier's check.
The cashier's check, or literal dollar bills.
Right.
You hand that to someone, it's gone. You have no claim over it. So if anyone's asking you to ever pay for anything, whether it's to pay for a particular charge or whatever they're telling you to do, and they want you to use a gift card, that is because it is 100% untraceable, non-refundable, and once it is in their hands, it is gone. Now the same goes for Bitcoin. Any form of cryptocurrency. Essentially, if anyone's asking you to pay for something in a way that kind of makes you feel weird, like not your credit card or cash or a check, then it probably should raise a red flag.
Right, you have to trust your gut.
Absolutely.
And also, I'll tell my story, and then you have, I think, a couple stories, and we'll just kind of go, maybe this will help. So we were going to buy a horse trailer. And it was a great price. It was older, but I think it was like $1,200. And it was on eBay. So, we bought the horse trailer. And there was this great story about how her dad had died, and he left all this stuff at the farm, and she was trying to liquidate it. And the trailer was in a storage unit in Ohio, but there was pictures of it. So okay, fine, and they were going to deliver it. But they needed to be paid. So I went down the thing, whatever it was in eBay, and it came up to the payment methods. And it looked perfect. I mean, slick as can be. Perfect like any other eBay payment page would look like. And when I tried to pay with a credit card or something like that, which you do have at least some recourse, it said no, I had to pay with eBay gift cards. Okay, I've never done that before, so I went out to go get an eBay gift card. I actually needed, they only come in $200, I believe, so I needed like 6 of them. Well, the stores wouldn't sell them to me, and I got all mad. I was like, what do you mean you won't sell them to me? And so then I went to another store. They said, no, we can't sell them to you. And I said, well, what if I go to 5 stores and I get $200 from each one, or 6 stores? He said, well, then you'll be on a watch list. And I'm like, all right, finally, okay. Again, smart woman. It hits me. And we start talking about it. We're like, this sounds like a scam for sure. So we email the lady back and say, look, we're happy to buy the trailer, deliver it here, we'll give you the cash. And then, no, of course, we never heard from them again, and I reported it. But had the stores sold those to me, I would have been out $1,200, no recourse whatsoever.
Absolutely.
So now they're getting smarter. They're telling you when you go in the stores to buy a gift card, say it's for a gift. you think, I had shown them the eBay sheet of what I was trying to do, so they knew it was for business.
Right.
And they didn't say it was a fraud, they just said, no, we can't do it. But if you say it's for a gift for my 10 cousins, my 10 nieces and nephews, they're going to sell them to you.
And why would they argue with that, right?
Right. So, oh gosh. And it doesn't just start there. The other big scam is it comes through your computer. How many times have you, or have I said to you, or Anna, I've got a Microsoft thing on my computer that says, my computer's frozen and I have to call this number.
Absolutely. There's something I like to think of. So I am of a particular age where I kind of grew up with the internet. You know, I was probably 11 years old when I first got on CompuShare, which predates AOL. And I always remember my parents, and this is important, would say, you know, never give anyone your credit card online, never give anyone your first name, and you know, basically don't talk to strangers, don't give people money online. And obviously the world has changed. Now you order food over the internet with your name and your credit card, and everything's different. But it hasn't changed that much. You still shouldn't give people really, really important information like social security numbers.
Right.
Or your address, or your Fidelity account numbers, or things like that.
But once they get in your computer, and this is why I brought this up.
Right.
So if there's if you call that number on Microsoft or whomever, but it seems to be Microsoft mostly, and they say, oh yes, let me get in your computer and I can check it out and get it working again. Well, once they get in there, they dump a ton of stuff in there.
Correct.
They can also see where your credit cards are and things like that. And they can say, oh yes, we see somebody's charged something inappropriately on your card. Here, call this number, the fraud department there. Bing, ding, 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 ding. Once again, you never call a number that somebody gave you.
That was ultimately my point. Microsoft would never ask you to call them. If you receive a phone call from someone claiming to be the IRS does not call people.
Ever.
If they say they are sending the police after you, well, you can't, accidental tax evasion really isn't a thing. They're not going to send the police after you on accident. These things people hear, and it sounds real. It triggers that
they're so good.
That panic mode. You're like, oh, well, the police. I should do something. No. You take a moment and you think, I haven't done anything wrong. I wouldn't accidentally
But even
do something
if you
wrong.
think you aren't sure
Yes.
if you did something wrong, you still take a deep breath. And I guess this is maybe my best advice. Anytime something happens like that, take a deep breath. Tell that person you'll call them back later and hang up.
Yeah, do not react immediately.
Then talk to a few people before you take any action. Even if you think you're going to sound stupid asking somebody, ask them anyway. Because most people can say, oh yeah, that happened to me, or this or that. Don't be afraid to look foolish or feel stupid, because it's better than losing a lot of money.
Absolutely.
So one of the things you'll always do is on the back of your credit card is a phone number. Now that is a real phone number. If you call that number, you're going to get real people associated with this card. If you call any other number that they give you on the computer or they connect you to, they have a bank of highly trained crooks. Highly trained crooks. They know just what to say and how to say it.
Absolutely.
So that was just a couple of ways. The Microsoft getting into your computer, getting your information, the gift cards. There's my husband got a call from the electric company.
Really?
Yeah.
It's like one I've not heard
this
of.
is in Vermont, and they're like, we're going to shut your electric, you haven't paid your bill, we're going to shut it off in 20 minutes. And he was like, wait a minute, I paid my bill. They said, nope, we don't show any record of you paying your bill. He said, well, I'm going to go and check. So he goes and checks, and he said, you know, my bill is paid, and the guy calls him back, because he had to go check. The guy calls him back, says, you've got 10 minutes left, and the power's going off. So then he called me as well, and I said, nah, this sounds crazy. And I said, just tell him to shut it off. And sure enough, as soon as he told the guy that he had paid the bill, right, and it was about $330 or something, the guy said, well, you're going to have to give us $300 right now to stop this from happening. So he knew the number once we gave it to him, right? Too much information. And of course, the power never went off. Another one, he mentioned the IRS. Even if you get a letter that says it's from the IRS, it's probably not. So go online, go to the official IRS site, which is a .gov,
Yes.
and get the right phone number. Don't trust anybody, except us, but don't trust anybody. And
I have one last one as well too. Now this
Okay.
one, speaking of phone numbers, the reason I wanted to bring this one up is this is particularly insidious. So I got a phone call that my caller ID recognizes Amazon. I was busy. I think I was at work. Went to voicemail. So I checked my voicemail and it said that I had been charged $760 and I needed to authorize that charge because it seemed to be fraudulent. So I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. So I called the number back because it was Amazon's number. And I got Amazon. And I spoke to Amazon, said blah, 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 I received this message, and they said, no, sir, someone had spoofed the Amazon number. Now, if I had picked up, I wouldn't have gotten Amazon. I would have gotten the fraudsters. But when I called that number back, whatever program they were using to hijack that particular telephone line
Interesting.
put me into Amazon. So it was very, very, very high tech, very sophisticated.
It's pretty scary.
I would always recommend if it's numbers you don't recognize, let them go to voicemail.
Well, yes, but it is the fear factor here, I think, that really gets. And I heard COVID funds were being diverted.
Oh yeah, that's a big one in Canada.
And I also heard that, when IRS, people can take your payments, your IRS payments. IRS will not refund your money. They don't care. I hate to say it. They do not care. You need to protect your social security numbers. If you need to, go to the social security department and put in a request that nobody can touch your social security number without you personally going in. Okay, that's a big deal and it's a pain in the butt, but it will protect you. So that's another thing that you can do. Now, if you're going to buy a house, you're going to have to go in, tell them to release your credit, your social security number, so you can get your credit checked, things like that. But in these days, who needs a gun?
It's wow. People, it is a multi-billion-dollar industry. This kind of fraud. So there is a vested interest for them to be very good as the legitimate companies at what they do.
And we're talking about big fraud here mostly. We're not even talking about investment fraud where an investment guy does the wrong thing.
Like Ponzi schemes
Right,
and stuff like that.
and basically the rules there is always stick with a company like a Fidelity, a Schwab, a TD Ameritrade, a Water, whatever they are, stick with a company name. But even then, you need to always call the official numbers to make sure that those accounts are real. Because that's how Mobley did it. He made statements that I believe looked like Morgan Stanley statements
Interesting.
in his own garage. So, you have to have trust. And that trust can't be blind trust. It needs to be not calculated trust, but it needs to be earned trust. Maybe that's the way to put it. So, stay away from
Gift cards.
gift cards for any form of payment. And there was one other thing we were just talking again about big fraud.
Oh yeah.
Look on your credit cards. How many times do you have a little bizarre charge, $9.65, that constantly shows up? My Comcast bill. All of a sudden I had a sports package. A sports package? Okay, I don't even know what football looks like except I hear it's not round. So why would I have a sports package?
Fair enough.
I called up, they took it off. Guess what? It's on there again. Now, that may not be fraud, but it has a little bit of hint of it.
These companies make a lot of money on unnoticed charges.
Little tiny ones.
So be aware of what you're paying for.
I had that happen with public storage.
And I notice it with
Over
my
and over.
subscriptions as well. Little things get added on there, and also your bills get increased every year, so be aware of that as well. There's a lot of ways for them to take your money.
Right. Okay.
But the most important point I think, if you can take away from all of this, is if you do get one of those phone calls, one of those emails, something that worries you, do what Dawn said and just take a moment and talk to someone.
Right. Hang up. Don't talk to them no matter how good or professional they sound. You're all smart.
Mm-hmm.
They just happen to be smarter about what they're doing.
And if it is real, you will have time to deal with it.
Yes. Nobody's taking you to jail. Anyway, this is Naples Money Managers news you can use. And as you know, money matters, but most of all, and most importantly, you matter. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.